Hi, today, in order to talk about something cool about evolution and natural selection, we will look at one of the phenomena that is really actual and really interesting. It's a phenomenon that was and is clearly obvious given the theory of evolution, but humans didn't notice it until it became a perceivable problem. We will talk about antibiotic resistance. From the first time some beings started to swim around this planet, two kinds of lifestyles were established. Those who make their own food themselves, like algae or plants today, and then there were the lazy beings that didn't want to work for their own food, and instead lived upon the first. They eat other beings. Unfortunately, we as humans are a very good food for a lot of beings, for sure a lot of bacteria. This is the reason they scares us. They didn't make us sick because they are evil, they are not pranksters. They just want to eat us. So for every bacteria that is trying to eat us, we will have a different response and different symptoms and all the medical stuff. This is the kind of process that give us some tuberculosis or pneumonia. So very good for the bacteria, you are thinking, and it's true, but as humans it's not a great perspective, to die in order to feed a bunch of bacteria. So we started a long time ago to think about some procedures that we could use in order to fight these bacteria, in order to survive to their attack or to avoid the necessity. So let's just ignore all the ancient methodology and let's go to the point, talking about the first real weapon we could use against this little creature. 1900, penicillin. It's a cool anecdote, Fleming and serendipity and stuff. It's boring and everybody talks about it. So let's just skip it. Let's talk about what was the founding. There is a mold like this. There is this mold from genus Penicillin that produce a molecule, and it means that the cells of this mold, this moldy genus of molds, can synthesize a molecule that can kill bacteria. This circle around these molds that indicate that bacteria are dying here. So wonderful. If this molecule can kill bacteria and molds can avoid infection by bacteria thanks to this molecule, why couldn't we try to use it to help humans with their infection? So this molecule was isolated and was named penicillin. Okay, of course, because it was purified from penicillium molds. All the trials were done, and after like 20 years of study was performed the first medical use of penicillin in order to cure infections from bacteria. It worked, all the humans were happy, and let's look at what is happening here for real. So this is penicillin as a pill. The idea is that you swallow it, this molecule in pill form, with some water. You will absorb it, and the molecule of penicillin will circulate in your blood until it reaches a bacteria. A bacteria that is helping you in your gut, or a bacteria that is eating you. The molecule doesn't know. It is bouncing around your body, and sometimes it encounters a bacteria. This is what is happening. This is a penicillin molecule. It's a derivative of the original, but the idea is the same, and we will talk in a moment about why we have today some derivative of the original penicillin. The original was a little simpler than that, but back to the topic. The penicillin, that is the penicillin molecule, carries its role because it can bind a specific protein. called transpeptidase. That is a bacterial protein, okay? This is a protein inside the bacteria, okay? And this protein is pivotal for the bacteria in order to live. So this is the way this molecule can protect us from bacteria. This is this is the way we kill bacteria. We use a molecule that binds some bacterial protein. The bacteria needs this protein, so if our molecule blocks the protein activity because it's bound to it, the bacteria will die. Now let's look at what happened. Let's look at this history. Okay, here we have years from 1920, and let's look. Do you see? Humans find a new drug. It was like 5-10 years. Bacteria, 10 years later, bacteria will not be killed by this new drug. Okay, they will be resistant of this drug. How is it possible? Maybe you have already figured it, but proteins also in the bacteria are coded in the DNA. So if the DNA of a bacteria mutate, its protein will mutate too. So the protein that we choose as a target for our weapon, for our drug binding, will be on a selective pressure. The bacteria that will produce a different form of the protein that can fulfill its job, but that can't bind the drug, will be very advantageous. So in a couple of years, bacterial population will be composed for the majority of the mutated form of bacteria that carry protein that can't bind our molecule. Also, they can develop some other protein that maybe it's useful to disarm our drug, like this. This is a protein, and this is a bacterial protein called beta-lactamase. The name is not important, but its job is to destroy all the penicillins that it encounters. So the arise of this new protein on bacteria was a real problem. For a couple of years, we were shitting our pants for fear because it was a real problem. We used to kill bacteria with penicillin, and now it's useless. But scientists are smart, and they have thought, what if we make a molecule that can bind this other protein, this beta-lactamase, so that we can make a beta-lactamase inhibitor so that it can't carry its role. So they have found this kind of molecule, and today if we take a penicillin drug, we take also this beta-lactamase inhibitor. And this drug, Augmentin, they don't pay me, it's just an example. So we take this beta-lactamase inhibitor called clavulanic acid or clavulanate, and this amoxicillin is just a drug of the penicillin family. So we take the penicillin and the beta-lactamase inhibitor all together. Now you noticed it's a war on time. We find a drug, bacteria find a way to be immune to it via mutation in their DNA. Then we change the drug a little bit, then the bacteria find a new way to avoid to be killed, then so on and so forth. All of this arms race because of the process of natural selection. The pressure imposed by the human's use of drugs and the positive selection of those bacteria that produce mutated target protein are the forces that are shaping the way bacteria evolves and the way humans are trying to defend themselves. So I just wanted to leave you with the last concept. This is the learning cure. it's just a mathematical model that represents the productivity or proficiency, no, productivity of a training session. It shows that the increment in productivity isn't linear. It's not a line. It isn't linear. And it means that at the beginning most of the progress are done with low input of training. No, great increment, low input. More you are already productive, and less will be the increment per amount of training time. It's not that important, the mathematical model, but it's useful in this situation, so let's look at it with an original point of view. As soon as the antibiotics era was starting, our progress were very fast. And every month new antibiotics were found, new classes of molecules were synthesized. We were at our start of the learning curve about how to kill bacteria. The rate of new founding slowly decreased in the following years, and today the last new class of antibiotic was found 30 years ago. So 30 years without a new class of antibiotics means that we are at a point where, we are here. Okay, we are at the end of the curve. So the problem is that evolution with mutation on DNA and protein, it is linear and it's fast. The rate at which the bacteria are arming themselves is not slowing down. So today we are facing the problem. In this arms race with bacteria, we are on the edge of a big delusion. We have to think about a completely new way of interacting with bacteria, a way that they don't expect, that can give us some time to think about how we can manage this situation on the long range. So this is it for today. And as usual, let me know what do you think about the topic we have talked about. And thanks for watching, and see you later.